I'm a teetotaler. I've never been drunk. I've also never been high. I've actually never even tried a drug because I have extreme other vices. I'm a huge gambler as well, as most of you know. But I literally do not know a single high level, high functioning, high successful motherfucker who like drinks crazy amounts of alcohol. I don't know one. I think it's like a meme. It's bizarre, but it's when you really look at it on the face of it, I just simply don't know one. He doesn't know one. Like most of the people that I know that are I'm talking like extremely high functioning. They don't fucking alter. They don't alter anything. They're not trying to alter their reality. They're actually, because ultimately delusions are for the weak. I mean, delusions are for the weak, and if you can handle whatever reality that you're in, I think your chances of getting out of whatever fucking social structure or whatever circumstances you were born into, your best chance is to face as much stone cold truth as possible. So I definitely admonish against any kind of substance alterations. I mean, the reality is it's all a drug. Gambling's a drug. Cortisol's a drug. Adrenaline's a drug. And I'm under no delusions that I'm definitely a fucking cortisol and adrenaline junkie. But it's also self-manufactured. I refuse to take pre-workout. I don't take caffeine. I take 0 supplements. I refuse. I don't even fucking wear shoes. I don't wear gloves. I don't have a belt. I just am ready to fucking rip the fucking head off of things at any given time. I'm ready to fucking rumble. I don't fucking need my little gallon jug of water walking around all day like a fucking bodybuilder. I'm just ready to go. I'm like a fucking camel. I need very little water. I fucking train heavy fasted. I think we need to train in extremely fucking rough conditions. Grungy gyms, hot, sweaty, humid. I just see way too much fucking reliance on external shit. I just have fucking heart, and I have some fucking grit, and I have mental fortitude. Those are the 3 fucking components that you need to do anything in life. I'm pretty much a non-interventionist now in my life. If I see people going down a bad path or a bad road, I think if you truly love somebody, you have to let them crash and burn. And I think a lot of people disagree with this, but it's 100% fact. If you are constantly intervening with people who are doing fucked up shit and on a bad path, what you're doing is you're stealing and robbing the lesson that they have to learn on their own. Who the fuck are we to intervene in somebody's path before they need to learn the lessons that they're supposed to fucking learn? So if someone wants to go down a path of absolute fucking destruction, I will actually encourage and aid them in that quest. It's like, motherfucker, you want to fucking do cocaine and destroy your life? I'll give you a fucking mountain of cocaine. I want you to hit bottom faster. You need to, that's what they really need. They need to hit the fucking ground at terminal fucking velocity faster so they can rebound. And that's true love. If you really fucking care about somebody and you're not a selfish prick, because intervening is selfish. People are like, oh no, it's because I care about him. It's like, dude, it has nothing to do with that. You're being selfish. Because you are playing God. You think that by intervening and by pulling somebody out of their lesson that you're actually doing them a favor. You're doing them a disservice. Everybody has to fucking learn their own way. We all know subconsciously people don't make changes until they're truly fucking disgusted with themselves. When they wake up in the morning and they literally can't fucking bear to look in the mirror, they are so disgusted and horrified at what they've become. That's when people make real fucking change. And that's honest, and that's integrity, and that's literally that's part of the natural order. That's like a truth as old as fucking time. It's uncontroversial. People do not fucking change with little fucking pats on the back and nodes of encouragement. They might make little steps, but the reversion and the recidivism is extremely fucking high. Why do you think the recidivism is high? It's high because motherfuckers always rebound to their baseline. Change has to come within. That's why it's incredibly important not to judge other people where they're at. It's very easy to look at another motherfucker and say, you're fucking fat and disgusting. But a lot of us are not fat and disgusting, but we're obese. We're the 400-pound obese guy in other areas of our life. And we need to take honest appraisal of that and be extremely fucking cautious about the way we're fucking pointing the finger at others, because we all have fucking work to do. And honestly, everybody's fucked up. You guys that are making really good money online, e-com, you guys are definitely making a solid living on the internet. But it's super easy to use that as a shield to hide from physical interaction. because you've developed this self-conception and you have a self-image. Everything's clicking in your life. You're making money. You can support yourself. You can sustain yourself. You live in a dope city. But at the end of the day, you also have to question, are you fucking hiding? Are you hiding from the world? Are you protecting your self-image? Because I see guys that are making money hand over fist, but they don't have women. They don't have chicks. They don't have power over their domain. People aren't listening to them. They don't have any fucking influence. They're just boarded up and barricaded in their fucking high-rise apartment, stacking cheddar, but they're not really fucking putting themselves out there. They don't put themselves in positions where they could be rejected or put themselves in positions where they could lose control. And you have to do that to build your spirit, because you have to put your self-image in question. And every time you are rejected by a woman, by a business proposal, by an opportunity, every time you give yourself the opportunity to be rejected, you are putting your self-image on the line. You're risking the fact that your opinion of yourself could change based on that outcome. And I see a lot of guys are super fucking protective, overprotective of who they think they are. And that's why you won't go after the big fucking pie. That's why you're not going after the bad bitches. That's why you're stuck with the 2s and 3s and 4s, because you know they'll fucking tolerate your bullshit, and you know that you don't really have to be anything impressive to get to the higher stratosphere. So it's extremely fucking crucial that when you are successful and you find your stride, that you are continually challenging yourself and putting yourselves in situations where you lack control, and more importantly, your self-conception is at risk. Because if you can take a loss and you can absorb blows and you can handle rejection and it doesn't fucking permeate into your core and it doesn't make you question who you are, you're unfucking stoppable. And it becomes a high. It becomes a whole new fucking drug. And you unlock a new frontier because you can continue to push and you can continue to put yourselves in positions where you can be rejected and your self-image doesn't get rattled. I think this shit is extremely fucking important. I want to do a little fucking Q&A. I'd like to get some fucking questions just about training, congruency, strength of spirit, because I think nobody talks about the intangibles. And I think it's extremely destructive because, like I said, it's extremely hard to sell what I'm telling you here. No one can fucking sell you a product if they're telling you that you need to fucking go out there and actually put your balls on the line and actually take a legitimate risk. There's just no money to be made in it. And that's unfortunate because that's where every man that's where the battleground is. The battleground ain't in money. Everybody knows it's easy to make a fucking living in this society. This is the easiest time in the world to keep yourself afloat. But keeping yourself afloat is for cowards. We need to be constantly pushing forward and constantly reanalyzing and taking honest stock and honest assessments with ourselves about how much we're hiding from the world. Hiding is for fucking pussies. Hiding is for little fucking bitches. And a lot of us are in these grooves where we're just using these fucking tools to hide, whether it's the gym, whether it's our online business. We're so fucking careful because we're afraid that if anything goes wrong or we put ourselves out there in a position where we could possibly get our heart broken, that everything's going to fucking fall apart. And it's true. A lot of you will fall apart if you get your heart broken because you've never been in the trenches. You've never rolled up your sleeves and you've never known what it's like to actually have to self-reflect and wonder why it is that you ended up the way you are. Because to me, being a man is all about being well-calibrated. And well-calibrated to me means that your opinion of yourself is extremely close to the reality. You want your opinion of yourself to be extremely close to the reality. You don't want to fucking barricade yourself and huddle in these fucking self-delusions that you have. All pressure points were pointing me towards just basically being a perfect mold of society. I was being groomed to just go to college and just live this normal life. And I've always been just a very cantankerous, sort of recalcitrant personality. I've always been kind of defiant since I was a kid. And I never a lot of those qualities were trying to be gutted and ripped out of me. And I never understood that if you double down on your character flaws, and that if you resist the temptation to give in to this sort of like umbrella of society that wants you to have fucking good manners and have this sort of parlor etiquette and be this like perfect fucking model citizen, you can literally push boundaries and push yourself to places that you never dreamed were possible. And you can do that without hurting anybody. It's just that I've always had a natural inclination towards cockiness, towards sort of arrogance, towards I don't want to say ill-mannered, but I've just sort of kind of always had like an uncouth disposition. And I think that when I was in my 20s, I really started to kind of explore the darker sides of myself that I had been repressing for so many years. And that's when everything fucking clicked for me. I was like, why am I fucking pretending to like fold my hands on the table at dinner and pretend that I'm like this high-mannered aristocrat? It just ain't me. And I just kind of had to peel back those layers and really, really plug in and figure out who I really was. I'm just a naturally kind of like cocky, arrogant, kind of dickhead kind of guy. And when I fucking took the gloves off and I fucking pulled away the veneer that I was putting on, I really started to break ground, because ultimately I believe the evolution of man and my evolution as a man has come full swing when I just honored who I really was. Even if those qualities alienated me, even if they eliminated good people in my life, because God knows I've had some fucking remarkable relationships. I've had amazing women come into my life. I've met some fucking extremely fucking cool dudes. And I've alienated and had to rip myself away from a lot of those people because it just wasn't congruent. Those relationships were not a good fit for my personality type. I'm a wild man. I'm an adventurer. I'm a fucking explorer. I don't really like commitment. I like to be no strings attached. I like to be able to do whatever the fuck I please. When I was 23, I really just kind of activated all of those qualities that I was fucking rejecting. And that's when I really made progress. Even though, like I said, I alienated tons of people in my life, I still found strength and resolve in my solitude. And I just find tremendous solace and solitude in that. Even if I'm fucking alone and I got nobody around me, no support, nobody fucking believes in my dreams, nobody has my back, which has never been the case. But hypothetically, if I was in that situation, if you are living your destiny and you're being congruent with who you're supposed to be, there's tremendous fucking relief in that. You're alleviated. You're fucking alleviated because you're just being who you are, and other people are not going to fucking like that. And if you are not somebody who is marginalized, and you're not an outcast, and you're not somebody who struggles with alienation, it's extremely fucking likely that you're not being who you are. I think a lot of people take that as meaning like just accept who you are. If you're a fucking miserable loser, continue to be that. That's not what that means. It means you have to fucking figure out what your natural inclinations are, what your natural disposition is, what your natural demeanor is, and you have to go all in on that. And if you're rubbing people the wrong way, that's typically a sign that you're closer to God, in my opinion. Doesn't mean you're trampling people. That's a very clear distinction. Does not mean you're hurting or trampling other people, but it does mean that you are rubbing people the wrong way because you do not capitulate and you do not kowtow and you do not genuflect to motherfuckers who try to get you to behave a certain way. That's fucking crucial. And so once I stopped behaving in certain ways that other people were trying to influence me on, that's when all the creativity and that's when everything fucking clicked for me. Because I realized anything was fucking possible. Los Angeles has been very good to me. I see a lot of fucking hate on California and Los Angeles. And I mean, it definitely is not a meme. California has deteriorated. I've seen it before my own eyes. But all the hate and all the fucking shit talking I see on Los Angeles is just from motherfuckers who can't make it here. It's a Shark Tank. If you can make it in LA and you're not invisible and you can actually do business and do commerce here and date women here, you can fucking do it anywhere on earth. And so I just feel like it's playing the game on hard mode. Because if you're out of shape and you're not a guy who's driven or motivated, you're not ambitious, you're invisible in Los Angeles. No one's going to give a fuck about you. No one's going to know who you are. Girls won't even look your direction. But if you're somebody who actually has a body of work that's remotely impressive, you're going to do well here. And I think LA is an extremely fucking vibrant city. People generally take really fucking good care of themselves here. There's definitely high consciousness around meat and diet and fucking, I mean, the one drawback, because I travel a lot, every time I go out of LA, I laugh to myself because I've been everywhere. The food in LA is 100% top class. I've been to New York. I've been everywhere. Miami does not compare to the fucking local farms and the kind of shit that they're raising out here in Cali. Does not hold a candle to it. So I always fucking kind of miss out on the nutritional aspects when I leave LA, because just the shit you can access in LA, from raw milk to the egg quality to the beef quality, is fucking off the chain. So yeah, I would just say LA is a Shark Tank, and anybody who bashes LA just probably just unfortunately can't compete and can't do well there. I would say that's just the hard truth. I have ruined so many opportunities. I've had shit handed to me on a silver platter numerous times in my life, but it just didn't jive with my soul, so I just refused to take it. And it's like, you want to talk about a confidence building exercise? When you're in a position where you can reject opportunities that you know are going to be profitable because it just doesn't fucking fit with who you are, it's unbelievable what you can accomplish. And I've done that over and over and over again. I've turned down, I mean, like, a really good example is I get DMs all the time about affiliate marketing. Guys want me to help them push their products, and that's just not me. It's just literally not me. I just cannot fucking affiliate and push other people's products if it's not a product that I believe in, or if it's not a product I've used myself. I don't give a fuck how much money I can make. I just can't do it. And have I left tons of money on the table? Of course I have. But it ultimately, when I steer back and I go and I live by my own direction and by my own forces and my own will, I'm actually able to create other opportunities that make up for that 20-fold on the back end. So it's just, there's a certain power and confidence that you have when you can sit back in a chair and be like, look, I don't fucking need to capitulate to anybody. I don't have to fucking bow down or fucking do anything that I don't want to do in life, because we all have a choice and we all can fucking stick to our guns and triple down. That's why I'm saying it's so important to not remove your flaws. We have to integrate our flaws. Like the shit that like you think is holding you back, or the shit that you're doing that's somewhat destructive. Yes, some of that needs to be curtailed, but most of the time, a lot of those fucking personality quirks will actually fucking work really well for you if you can just learn to incorporate them into the other shit that you're doing that's successful, instead of being obsessed with constantly fucking removing everything and scratching parts of yourself that you don't like. A lot of times you just got to put that shit on your shoulders and just keep rucking with it, because all this shit gets resolved. I see so many personality flaws and personality quirks get automatically resolved when guys start achieving things. Something about achievement, something about winning, something about creating more freedom for yourself just has this sort of underglow effect of just sort of removing the natural shit that you want to get rid of anyway. You don't have to sit there and journal for 100 hours about all your fucking character defects and all the shit that you want removed. You just need to fucking take it along with you and find patterns and strides where you can actually find success. And a lot of that shit just gets sloughed off in the end anyway. That's been like probably the most profound insight that I've had in the last 10 years is I stopped worrying about my flaws and I just integrated them and kept fucking trucking. And now I'm an extremely flawed individual, but at the same time, I have a pretty decent body of work. I'm pretty happy with a lot of the things that I've accomplished in my life. And ultimately, like I said, man, I have the keys to my own kingdom. Nobody tells me what to do. I'm in the driver's seat, and that's all I've ever wanted since I was a little kid. All I ever fucking wanted was to just be in a position where I could say, fuck you, I don't have to do that. And I got there, and it's an extremely uplifting experience that I think all men should pursue. Doesn't mean that I don't work with other people, and that, I mean, shit, I'm not really a team player by nature, and I love working with other people, but I can work with other people. Like I don't have to compromise my integrity. I don't have to compromise what I believe in order to make things happen anymore, because I can just draw my lines in the sand. I know exactly what my limitations are, and I try to put myself at the edge. I try to shatter the edge of my ability to find my own limitations. I'm just addicted to improvement, essentially. My life is extraordinarily dysfunctional. It's extremely dysfunctional, but what's interesting is I find that the most dysfunctional lives ironically have the most utility and application in the real world. I fire 6 figures a day on games. My betting patterns are so egregious and so stupid. If anybody looked at my life, they'd be like, dude, how the fuck do you survive? My swings, my highs and lows are so ridiculous, but I've been doing this for 15 years. I know how to fucking take the rough with the smooth. And it's like you said, I know who I am. I know I'm always going to be degenning. I'm going to be degenning till the end of time because it's just fucking who I am. And I refuse to fucking let that part of myself go, because you don't want to fucking blunt your edge. You don't want to dull your edge in life. And that's what happens when you take away all your vices and you self-resist and you're constantly putting yourself in a position where I can't do that because it's going to hurt me. What you do is you blunt the edge of the blade, and you don't want that. You need edge. You need to combine things that don't make sense. I'm a fucking high level elite Olympic lifter, and I'm an extremely high stakes gambler. Those two things don't make fucking sense. But great men combine elements that make no fucking sense. That's where you get your edge. That's how you stand out. That's where your uniqueness comes out, is you just combine things that should make no sense under any circumstances, right? Because I'm into health, fitness. I take such good care of myself, but I also put myself under tremendous pressure and stress that is unneeded. I don't have to live this life. I could fucking throw the towel in right now, take a cushy opportunity, roll in some passive income, kick my feet up and call it a fucking day. But it ain't me. I need that fucking thunder. I need to experience. I need to have my hands in shit. I need to be in the mud wrestling. It's just fucking who I am. I just need it for whatever reason. I can't let other people run my business for me, even if I'm making 10K a day. I need to feel the pain. I need to be leading from the front. I need to fucking absorb the damage. I need the blows. I want it because it makes me feel alive, like you said, and it fucking reinforces the fact that I'm living my purpose. I'm living my mission. I'm doing what I want to do. You have to understand there's so much opportunity on a daily basis that's being lost. People are squandering the world, the amount of money being exchanged, the shit that is popping off daily is so absurd when you really fucking ponder it, that it doesn't matter if you fucking take risks and get blown out. We live in a fucking world in 2021 where you can rebuild your ships so fucking fast. You can rebuild overnight in this society. So it's like, what's the fucking worst case that can fucking happen, dude? I fucking get my ass blown out on a fucking game. What's the worst case scenario? I just fucking roll up at a coffee shop the next morning and go talk to a bad bitch? Like, go get a chick's number, spend the night at her house, rejuvenate, get back on the saddle in 2 days. It's like the worst case scenario in 2021 is infinitesimally larger than any moment in history and time. You're never going to find opportunities like this again. There is infinite ways to challenge yourself, make money, rough shit up, cause havoc, cause trouble, cause chaos, make shit happen daily, even if you fucking lost everything. And I think people are terrified of that because I will say this. Here's the best answer to your question. Focusing on one motherfucking thing that you have full conviction in and going all in is the name of the game. I see people doing way too fucking much. They got their hands in too many tills. They're trying to do too many side hustles, too many fucking different things, and they suck at everything. Find one motherfucking thing that puts your heart on fire and go all in and be willing to die for it. Literally be willing to fucking face the belly of the beast. And if you fucking fail, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Ground beef is fucking $3 a pound. You're still going to be eating good. You ain't going to go homeless. It's too fucking easy to make a living in this society. You're going to have to fucking change. And people are afraid of change more than they're afraid of death. They want to do everything they've been fucking doing for years that's not working and get different results. And when you do the same fucking thing you've always done, the same fucking results are always going to occur. So you have to change. If you want change, you have to become a different person. And the only way to become a different person is to try new shit and put yourself out there so that you can reconceive who you are. And so I understand that. I understand on a fundamental level, if my business goes belly up, I don't give a fuck because I have so much tremendous self-belief. I know for a fact in 48 hours, I will be back on the saddle making shit happen again. So you can't lose with that mentality, but people are so terrified to go outside the box and do things outside of their comfort zone. I think, like I said, interfacing with the physical world is the best way to learn. I think we need to ditch the books. I think genuinely, I think there was a time, maybe 2014, 2013 was like a perfect time to be sitting in libraries, reading fucking highfalutin novels with flowery language and shit. I mean, I've read it all. I've read fucking Dostoevsky. I've read Ayn Rand. I've read fucking Schopenhauer. I've read it all. And honestly, when I put down the books and just got out there and started interacting in the physical world, I just came across all the fucking wisdom I read about anyway. Literally, it just all made sense to me just from the capacity of just working in the world with my hands and senses. So I think implementing is a funnel that'll take you directly into learning. And I think that we need to be out there in the real world, making deals, putting up shots and shit like that. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I think the online shit is great, but I just think we need to make room for both.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I think my point is like what I want to say about reading is you have to understand reading a novel in 2021 is you're working at a very archaic pace. Like we live in a time where the blurb, the snippet, things are so fucking short shrift. Like everything is condensed. And I think we need to kind of live in accordance with that. That's just where the culture's headed. And if we're resistant to that, I think we're going to get blown out of the game. I think ultimately, and I hate to say this because I think reading can be extremely powerful, especially when you're younger. If you're a fucking teenager because ideally the youth would have been educated when they're young. The problem is we see a lot of like mid-20s, young, low 30-year-olds that are now trying to read and digest all these novels. And it's kind of like it's too late. Like you're at a point in your mid-20s and 30s when you need to be all in on building because the time is 100% working against you. And you don't really have the luxury of sitting in a library and fucking reading Schopenhauer for hours a day. I think audiobooks are definitely powerful. If I get really good book suggestions nowadays, I'll just fucking throw on an audio. But again, I think when you're worth $30 million, yeah, sure, go fucking read as many books as you want. But if you're a fucking loser and you're broke, I just don't really see the ROI translating to the current cultural landscape that we're in. I think there's far more powerful tools to learn and put yourself out there than, sitting and reading novels. Unfortunately, that's just where it is. I don't make the rules. I wish it was different. I see where everything is headed and everything's a fucking clip. Nobody has the attention span anymore. So if you really want to be effective and you really want to fucking be powerful and have real influence, I think we need to kind of capitalize on this idea that information is being condensed and compressed in a kind of a more cubic fashion than it was. It used to be a lot more linear, but now it's very cubic and everything's kind of condensed. So I think we need to kind of like stay in accord with that in order to be successful. I think number one, very important to understand that we cannot fall in love with our pain, and our pain does not make us unique. Everybody is experiencing different gradients of pain at all times, and it's completely unquantifiable. I see a lot of guys take their failure and use it as an opportunity to sort of romanticize it, and they romanticize in their pain and become sort of married to their pain, and they use it as a fake token to make themselves feel special. I think we need to do everything we can to not be victims of our pain and to keep those experiences in the corner of our mind as fuel. I use all my failures as ammunition. So I keep it in the corner of my mind and I hold a grudge against it. But I am not a victim to it. I don't see myself as less than, and I don't see myself as greater than because I have had that pain and that experience. I don't use that as an excuse to feel superior, and I don't use it as an excuse to feel inferior. I simply keep it compartmentalized in my head, and I recall on some of those experiences, and I use it as a fuel source to push forward and get vengeance over it. So I think that's probably the best approach. That's definitely been the best approach for me. Is it's very easy for guys to be in pain, go get a 6-pack of beer, put on sad music, and just kind of fucking wallow in their grief and misery for a couple of days. I think that a lot of guys kind of secretly enjoy that kind of existential despair. And I think it's extremely important to not indulge it at that level, and to not fall in love with our pain and find ways to utilize our experiences to propel us forward. I have numerous times risked every single penny in my portfolio for shit that I've believed in. And I've had my ass handed to me and had to completely rebuild overnight. And I'm talking fortunes that would make most people's lifetime. And I've done that over and over and over again. I think simply as a demonstration, I've always had something kind of to prove to myself that I could overcome circumstances. And honestly, man, I just want to say this. When you lose everything at risk in something that you believe in, you develop a very crucial sense of the world that you can't get through any kind of like endeavor. Like you don't learn this shit through relationships with other people. There's certain things that just happen in private where you can put something at risk and it's just you versus you. You don't really have the consolation of a woman, or you don't have the consolation of a friend, or you don't have a mentor just kind of overlooking you. You just simply have to bootstrap yourself and pull yourself up out of the gutter. I don't find anything to be more empowering than those types of experiences on this planet, because it's never taken me down. It's never made me weaker. It's never made me worse. I've simply had less material to play with, but I've become a much bigger demon and a much bigger beast for the next run. I have put 100% of my net worth on the line. Also, other people's net worth. I've had people invest in me and I have put everything on the line, and I have been destroyed numerous times. And I always fought back and did everything I could to make those relationships and come correct. So I just want to say that it's extremely powerful when you can lose everything and take a puff of a cigarette and realize you're still fucking alive. You didn't die, and you're just a stronger fucking beast for the next run. Excellence and greatness to me is actually raw ethical spirituality. If you want to talk about honest spirituality, for me, it has nothing to do with gods. It has nothing to do with the pantheon. It has to do with you achieving whatever it is that you're supposed to achieve. And it's actually goes beyond that. It's you going beyond what you're supposed to be on paper, because a lot of people have poor genetics. A lot of people are born into very rough circumstances. And I think that when you have spirit and you can overcome your circumstances and get the best of it, I think that's authentic spirituality. I think refusing to quit, I think relentlessness, I think tenacity, I think perseverance, I think those qualities are deeply, deeply spiritual. I don't hear very many people talk about them in that aspect, but I find that when I get the better of my circumstances and I enact vengeance and I get vindicated for the shit that I've gone through that has troubled me or plagued me in the past, I find that is when I am in the highest form of spiritual alignment. So to me, ethical spirituality is excellence in whatever it is that you're doing. I think this sort of like chaotic, blasé, emotionally immature anger can be extremely fucking corrosive. But I think that we need to, instrumental, like intentional anger at obstacles or at things that are standing in your way is obviously extremely important. And I think a lot of men are terrified of their anger and terrified of their rage. Yeah, of course anger fuels me. I find anger to be more addictive than probably any other emotion. I find anger to be I find anger to be incredibly intoxicating. I find it to be incredibly powerful, and it's an energy like anything else. It's just like, I hate the idea, because I find it very anti-human to bash certain emotions or put other emotions on a pedestal or everything. If we are born with these experiences and with this panoply of emotions, I think we need to explore them all. I think hate can be a very dope energy. It's an energy just like love. It's actually very close. Hate and love are extremely close on the dial. So I just think all of these things need to be explored. I don't have no issue with dudes that are angry at all. I just think that you have to be careful about the way that you're inflicting your anger on other people. I think anger is best applied when it's directed at obstacles. It's best applied when it's directed at things that are standing in your way. Anger as sort of like a manipulation tool or as a tactic to like try to pave way in relationships is a pretty bad idea. Has not worked out well for me. Hatred is an also completely valid, valuable emotion. People don't like to hear this, but it's an energy just like anything else, and it's dope. And I think it's important to experiment with it all and find out what works. I mean, I definitely can use animosity and hatred as a catalyst in many aspects of my life to push myself forward. I just don't think it's wise to shy away from any emotion, period. I think it all leads to destruction. I think that the guys who pretend to have a happy face all the time are the guys who will cut your throat the hardest.
Right.
And honestly, the most hateful, angry, enraged people I've ever met, the guys who could do the most damage, who have fucked up pasts, who've hurt a lot of people, it's ironic. Those guys usually have the biggest hearts, ironically. The people who have treated me the best, people who have given me the genuine loyalty, trust, love, companionship, friendship, everything that you would want, are all people who were dangerous as fuck and had a fucking short fuse and a hot temper. And I can tell you from experience, every motherfucker who's ever done me dirty or stabbed me in the back was one of those jolly Johnny good boys who fucking pretended that these emotions don't exist.
I mean, that's fucking right. We should do some terrorism. I'm just kidding, but how the fuck did you come up with megalomaniacal ego? Like, I know ego, but the word megalomaniacal, how the fuck I've never heard that word before.
Fuck, man. I guess just through my own experience. Again, I think the ego is extremely fucking important, man. The ego, like,
it is.
It's a very, very valuable, valid component in the human infrastructure, and it needs to be explored, and I think it needs to be developed to a high capacity before you can get rid of it. Like, people are trying to get rid of their ego before they've even seen its fullest expression, and that's a huge mistake, because your ego will take you to places that you can't go without it. That's just a fact. I've never seen non-egomaniacs go far in life. I've just never seen it. It's kind of like you have to develop it to its fullest expression, and then if you don't like the consequences of it, then you can fucking do you can fucking drill to ground zero and get rid of it. But like, until you've even seen what your full capacity and what your full potential is, I think it's really stupid to try to intervene with its development. I mean, ultimately, we have an ego to differentiate ourselves, right? Like, you have an ego so you know whose mouth to feed. Like, you wouldn't know to put the fork in your own mouth to feed yourself if you didn't have an ego. So the ego is there for your individuation and for your own kind of unique experience. And I think it's extremely important and valid to explore it to its fullest capacity and extent. I mean, I'm pretty much living in 95% ego at all times, but I also have the subliminal awareness in the back of my head. I kind of have like the higher virtues, and obviously I have the other parts of myself and aspects that I integrate as well. But the ego has just been tremendously powerful. I don't want to stifle that.